Good afternoon. I'm Kimberly Davis, and with me today is Dr. Laura Gurney, and we will be discussing our research titled The Impact of 3D Printing on Occupational Therapy Student Technology Efficacy.
This is going to be fun.
There you go. So we did a mixed methods design we chose that because we have two different groups, and we collected both quantitative and qualitative data. The experimental group participated in a project that required them to evaluate a client, identify an area of need, and then adapt and print an object or tool that would allow the client to do a task that they were having difficulty with. Our control group did not have that same experience in the classroom, however, did participate in a clinical experience where they were exposed and using technology in the field.
So the students were specifically occupational therapy students with an experimental group that was just entering their clinical education part of our program. And the control group was finished with the program just after.
Right. We had a total of 68 participants, with 42 of them in our experimental group and 26 in the control group. We are a rural private university, and we did not actually collect the age and gender, as the program enrolls primarily traditional students. So any student over the age of 23 would have been easily identified. And then the same was for gender, because our program typically only enrolls between 3 and 5 males in any cohort. And Dr. Gurney will now discuss our quantitative results.
So we ran KRUSKAL-WALLIS with a MANN-WHITNey post hoc. Our data was not paired, so we could not do a t-test. This is the preliminary data, so we've been trying it. We're continuing to follow with a longitudinal study over time, and finally got approval from our IRB for paired data for next time. So we found that the knowledgeable concept, so we had checked to see, I am knowledgeable about 3D printing in healthcare. That was significant, but only after the module, so the educational module. The pre and post were different, and the control and the post were different, but pre and control tested out as the same group, which is exactly what we were hoping for. The students were confident in using 3D printing, again, was significant, but this time significant across all of the groups. Later, we have a mean shift chart, which shows the Likert scale. 1 is strongly disagree and 4 is strongly agree. And you'll see that there's a significant shift in those rank means. I am confident in recommending technology for clients. And we saw, again, an increase after the module. So on this question, I would recommend 3D printing if there was a device on campus or in my clinical space, and that was also significant. We found that students felt beforehand they would obviously not feel comfortable. After the module, they were comfortable. I find it easy to identify solutions using 3D printing, again, was significant, and it was different across all groups. We found that the shift between pre and post groups have a much higher ranking score shift than the control and post. And when I show the charts later, that will show a little more obviously. I know resources available for 3D printing. Students were different across all groups, so it was significant change across all groups. And the control and pre were higher again after the post or after the module. I can locate 3D printing designs to use in practice. The module increased everyone's understanding and significant confidence levels. I am able to adapt 3D printing designs to meet the client's needs. Again, we found that this control did not have that understanding, but after they had their module, they were able to adapt and they felt much more confident. When we think of 3D design printing, it identifies something as difficult to implement. That was significant across all groups. And we did find that they felt, as expected, 3D printing is difficult. Normally, our students do not have advanced technology classes within their occupational therapy courses. So this was a new concept for them. No significance was found between, I believe technology is helpful for clients, and it was not significantly different between groups, which is exactly what we were expecting. We had the students would expect that healthcare is important to have technology knowledge. The technology is going to be helpful for our students, so we were very happy to see that confirmed. We feel the need to study technology based on its use in healthcare. Absolutely a confirm again. Students were very strong towards it is important, ranking 2.98 or higher on a 4-point scale. So that was much stronger on the agree. When thinking about 3D printing, identified as something that requires training, all students found that to be high. In here, these are the mean ranks. So on the Likert scale of 1 to 4, 1 being strongly disagree, 4 being strongly agree, you can see that almost everything increased after the module. The yellow is, or the gold color is the post-educational module. You'll see that interest is almost equal across, and the students were a little lower than the control students of the 5th year clinicals. We expect that's due to maturation of having experience in the clinical sessions. On custom solutions, we saw a significant jump in that, from 1.7 to a 3.3. That's a huge jump for those students' resources. We also saw that training bounced. If you look at the training section, second to the last, you'll see that the control group, or the 5th year that did not get the training, they are 5th year students and have a maturation difference. So they know that it needs training to do 3D printing, where after the 3rd year students had taken the training, they understood it needed training, but they really thought it wasn't that difficult. As you see in the next bar chart columns, the difficulty was not impacted significantly.
So here we have our qualitative response themes, and this is the pre and the post. So our 3rd year students that participated in our module, and the students were asked, how would you apply technology in healthcare? So I then took each of the responses and coded them according to the specific topic that they were describing. And as you can see, the themes are varied, and while there are some good connections, none are overly strong, as really noted by the thickness of the lines that are connecting them. And then we look at those same themes in the post survey on the other side, and you see that the students really do recognize the utility and application of 3D printed devices and identified significant connections to cost, speed, efficiency, and health. And then we have our 5th year, this is our control group. And when we look at the themes for these students who did not participate in that 3D printing learning activity, they only see devices as a way to improve communication. They have that direct link to that communication concept. And they also identify technology as computerized documentation, used as intervention, and they mentioned things like iPads and gaming systems, used to locate research and resources, and as a cost savings method for education. Our results summarized, the students really demonstrated that significant shift in technology self-efficacy. The value was gained by students from the technology exposure. We have 5th year students without it saying that they wish that they had the opportunity to participate in it. There was an increased awareness of technology uses in the career field, being occupational therapy, across all practice areas, and increased self-confidence in learning new technology. Some of the limitations of our study are we recognize it is a very small sample size. We do not use paired data, and we are a private higher educational institution in a rural area. The future research that we'd like to continue on is conducting a longitudinal study with blind paired data, and add some interdisciplinary collaborative projects and expand to other technology foci. Are there questions?